Good morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast which is about video games. Mm-hmm. And it's hosted by two very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys.
That's right.
Thank you for... Shut up. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry, Johnny.
Thank you for joining us.
Conan.
Can I finish?
No.
My name is Tommy Dassler, and with me, as always, video games expert, Ben Vanel.
That's right, Tommy. It's great to be here for another week to talk about my favorite video games. Mm-hmm. It's an art form that I love. Yep. And I'm excited to really dig into some news and some reviews.
Yeah. We've delayed this by one day.
Yes.
Because we got sick of... We're sick of always being caught with our pants down on this show.
Yes.
Having people be like, they've done it again.
Yeah.
Big news has broken right after you guys recorded. We were meant to record yesterday. Then a Sony State of Play got announced. And so we've moved it to this morning at great cost to my schedule for today.
Yes.
I've had to text friend of the show, Melanie Bracewell, who I'm meeting up with after this, and say, I am going to be late. I've done one of those days where you just stack everything in a row.
Yeah, and you're like, if everything goes smoothly, I'll be fine.
Yeah, but then you realise, like, even without things going smoothly, it was, like, pretty rich of me to assume that I'd be, like, taking... I will say, the State of Play, it ran a little bit late. You kind of think with these things, it's like they say 40 minutes. I mean, they're not up there... They're not doing a live performance. No. They know how long the video goes
They've timed it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't finish until, like, I don't know, 52 minutes past 9.
Yeah.
It's not enough time to get here by 10.
Absolutely not. With the fucking bottlenecks between Fitzroy and North Melbourne, you're kidding yourself.
With that fucking intersection that's near your house where the light seems to take about 25 minutes to go green.
Yeah, near the hospital. We talked about our sponsor just before this episode. It'll be halfway through the show. Mm-hmm. I'm really doxing myself now. I am going to the hospital today. I'm as far as I know, I'm okay. A couple of routine tests, but I've got to get and I didn't know this. I've got to get an aspiration, which is where they put a needle into your knee and they take some fluid out because it's for like arthritis-related tests. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. I thought I was just getting like a blood test and a scan. So I'm now like, I'm not happy.
Yeah, that's going to be...
It's really set me off.
Yeah. If you'd like to kind of prepare and get comfortable with it, I can help get some fluid out of you. I like the way you set up going to the doctor as, I'm fine as far as I know.
Yeah, well.
Just what a great preamble to any medical appointment. Just really basking in it like, hey, this might just spending the whole 24 hours just telling people, as far as I know, completely clean bill of health. Yeah. And look, this might be the last time I'm able to say that.
Absolutely, yeah.
This really living it up.
This is the December 31st, see you next year.
Sure.
My health, of my life.
But, of course, it was...
I was picked up, though, this morning. I was buoyed by some beautiful games.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was having a bit of a chat on our Discord, which you can be a member of if you go to patreon.com/filthycasualspod. That is available on the kind of knowledgeable tier. I have renamed them.
Yep.
That gets you access to the private Discord, ad-free episodes of this, and the monthly mailbag episode, which is like among the most enjoyable shit we get to do.
Yeah.
But I was on the Discord chatting to our patrons, and I was pretty positive. Not so much the rest of the sentiment. I feel like people were... I forget their name. It's like Spaghetti something.
Oh, Spagoo.
Maybe Spagoo was like...
He goes a very Simpsons Treehouse of Horror credits. He's always mixing it up.
Yes. Was like, I remember when these used to be exciting. Or good, which, fair enough.
it's so funny with like any of these directs from any company where you just like, whatever side you land on, you really do feel kind of at the end like you're a different species, where it's like you never feel more disconnected from a large group of people who have fundamentally the exact same interest as you.
Right.
Because, a lot of the time the Nintendo Directs, they do stuff that's right in the pocket of what I like.
Yep.
And then people will watch it and be like, what the hell was that?
Yes.
That was so shit. And you're like, but they announced a new, like, Star Fox is back.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool, you know?
Yeah.
And I truly felt like I was on the other side of it with this. And what it
Right.
really is just like a lot of stuff that I'm not personally interested in. But this was, I think it was like halfway through and we'd seen Borderlands,
Sure.
Five Nights at Freddy's,
Okay.
WWE 2K25, and I was like,
Well, you're presenting a strong case
I
here.
guess most of the really big stuff at the moment that's like, it's just stuff that I'm not as into.
Yeah.
And my biggest takeaway at the end of this was that, I don't know, I think there's just something at the moment in the making of games trailers where they've gotten... There's like this formula to them that is so boring. The like snippets of dialogue that's very like verbose and grand and like out of context, and the orchestrated soundtrack and the like, you know, whipping around and not really getting much of a sense of what you're doing in the game. And it just like everything ends up kind of looking the same.
There were a few things that definitely, like Hell Is Us and... Was it Solus? Sanos?
There's like 4 or 5 that I couldn't... We only just watched it, and I already could not tell you anything about them.
Yeah, and they all looked like Death Stranding or a rip-off of Death Stranding, basically.
Yeah. I mean, and like, just a strange... You know, Sony are in such a weird place at the moment, and in terms of like what they've said in the last year about their... first party offerings that they're going to have.
Yeah.
And this being, a 40-minute state of play, first one for the year. And like, what was the first party stuff in here? A remaster of Days Gone?
Yeah.
And the sort of sequel to Returnal. And is that kind of it?
I guess, like the Metal Gear Solid...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Is that I don't know if it's an exclusive.
I don't know either.
I don't know if any of these were exclusives, to be fair. I think perhaps that Midnight Walk game, which was the claymation one. Yeah.
Well, should we go through it?
Let's go through it.
From top to bottom.
Because I will say that yes, the stuff like the marquee games that you mentioned, which is true, like your Borderlandses, I'm not interested in at all.
Yeah.
But and this is often the case with you and the Switch ones, where like you might not be that interested in a remaster of this Mario game that you've already played, but a lot of the weird surprises will be appealing.
Yeah.
And the first game that we saw was Monster Hunter Wilds, which, we're already keen for.
Yeah.
We didn't...
They always do this with a Monster Hunter. It's like you see so much of it in the lead up. Every, like, big presentation has a bit of it in it. And the roadmap of the DLC. We know we're going to get DLC. Like, it's not even out yet. Like, it's hard to get invested in. Hey, this is coming down the line.
Sure.
And I'll play it in 2 weeks.
Like, yes, the gameplay was like different from what we've seen before, but the first trailer and the first like proper reveal of it, or the first proper dive into the gameplay, was so impressive. It's like, I don't really need that much more.
Yeah.
It's out like in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fair enough. They've got to, remind people like, hey, you can pre-order it now. You'll get some bonuses. And there's like DLC coming between like March, May, and then later in the year as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. Like, we assume there'll be some, but good to get confirmation that they haven't fucked this one up. And then Shinobi, so a side-scrolling action platformer.
Yeah,
this looks sick.
Yeah,
this is in our wheelhouse. I feel like.
Yeah. It's the style of it looks a little strange to me. It's that kind of. It's got like a kind of sketchy hand-drawn aesthetic. But then the way everything's moving is very fluid. In that very Flash kind of way.
Sure,
which makes it look a bit...
Very
I kind of wish the movement was a little more, jittery and in keeping with the actual aesthetic of it. Is always a little off-putting to me. But does look cool. And
I didn't play Streets of Rage 4, but, like, side-scrolling brawler... Apparently people liked it who played it, so that's their pedigree for this developer.
Yep.
A new Sonic Racer.
A new Sonic Racer that got... Remember it got teased like 8 months ago or something?
Yeah.
Like just the name, and it was a very like vague, this is coming, and you kind of think like, there must be something why would they not be showing it off? There must
Right.
be, and then it's like it's just a kart race.
Yeah.
Like got a bit of a Ratchet and Clanky kind of Rift Apart sort of gimmick to the tracks where you'll be racing along and then go through a little portal and the whole world changes, which it seems more just like a window dressing thing than it having any kind of practical...
Yeah.
Maybe if you get some kind of choice over which portal you go through,
or if it's like randomized each time.
Yeah.
Say like, oh no, I'm in a snow world and my tire tracks aren't very good. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Probably not, knowing that it's Sega. It was teased at the Game Awards. You're dead on there. Digimon Story Time Stranger. I was taking a piss for this one, so no idea.
This was I did laugh at this because it had a very sort of serious intro where it was like these beings known as anomalies and really like, it could be like a, third person sort of action fighting combat game, and then the lady going, we call them Digimon. I was like, okay, that's pretty sick. That's funny.
And it's like a turn-based JRPG sort of thing.
I couldn't really tell. I sort of zoned out. I'm not a Digimon guy. I was a bit,
Press Start Australia calls it a traditional Japanese RPG. So.
Okay, well, they would know.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd assume they watched it if they've reported on it.
Well, they might have been pressing start in order to go take a piss. Put the game on pause.
Yeah. They press start on their
their
bladder.
remote.
Lost Soul aside. Apparently this has been revealed. It was revealed in 2016. That's why I don't remember.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But this kind of looked sick. I think this was the one that, initially I was like, is this Final Fantasy? And then I was like, is this Devil May Cry? And it's just a combination of those two, basically.
Okay.
But it looked fun. I thought like the character designs were cool. It just had a Final Fantasy vibe.
Yeah.
It sort of reminded me of 16 without looked at more exciting than 16 basically. But character action game coming out in May this year.
Cool.
And then this was weird. I thought
a lady popped up to say, here's some news from the Like a Dragon series.
Yeah.
And that news was there's a demo of Pirate Yakuza next week. I think this week? Soon.
Yeah, soon.
Which is cool.
And the game is out in Feb?
It's out this month.
Yeah.
So it must be next. Anyway, short demo where you can try the combat. And some of the pirate ship mechanics.
Yeah.
And then also Ichiban is rocking up in Dave the Diver.
Well, who has Dave the Diver dived down on
nice.
to get all these fucking crossovers?
I know.
It's bizarre.
I reckon there's more. I reckon there's more different characters in here than Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Absolutely. It's bonkers. I mean, fucking Metal Gear Solid 3 is going to make a run at that too, apparently. But
sure.
This is so bizarre. The devs of Dave the Diver must throw the best parties or something.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to know the story. It is cool though. I liked Dave the Diver. I should go back to it, especially with there's like a Godzilla one. There's this. There's something. There's so many of them.
Yeah, was the Dredge? Was it Dredge in Dave the Diver?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
not the other way around. I know they did a collab.
Yeah.
They're fucking like Off-White and Kanye. They're just collabing all the time. One for the fashion heads out there.
Yeah, nice.
Borderlands was revealed.
Yeah, the two Randys.
Yeah.
Baby. Was it? See, if they had that kind of shit in there, I'd be right into this game.
Yeah.
If they were looking at each other and going, do I make you Randy? Do I make you Randy?
Well, I was already Randy, baby.
I was already Randy, baby.
I was born Randy.
Two Randys are better than one, baby.
This was not a reveal. This was the launch trailer. It's coming out in September this year. No interest, but hey, more power to you.
These guys look like cunts.
Yeah, I was going to... So was one of them the cunt?
I think, yeah.
The guy who's, fucking around with Activision and all that shit.
Yeah.
But hey, with the success of the movie... riding high.
The
off
sky's
that.
the limit.
That's right. I wonder if Kate Blanchett will make a cameo in this.
Yeah.
We got more from the devs of It Takes Two's next game, Split Fiction.
Yeah, I think this looks fun in a gameplay sense, but it looks really... I was thinking about it. It looks really overwritten.
Yes.
In the sense of if you've got these really fun gameplay mechanics and it's set in this fantastical world... I just really don't know that. And It Takes Two was the same. It was fun to play.
Yeah.
But then just this like really like, I don't know, trying to go for it's like anything that's kind of good in any art form up the top that does it to the best it can possibly be done, which in this case I would say is Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
and their approach to narrative-driven games that, you know, rival a cinema experience in terms of the characterization and the story. But then the trickle-down effect is people taking a swing at that, and hey, if you can't do it to that level, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm happy to do? Just play a video game.
Yeah. And like we played what was the brothers escaping from jail one?
A Way Out?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of funny in an ironic way, but it was mostly trying to be a relatively straightforward.
I feel like they ratcheted it up from there into It Takes Two, and that was kind of too much. And then this seems like even more of like, I wrote this story for me. I don't know. Maybe in the playing of it, it's not as kind of overdone, but it just felt it just felt really overdone in this trailer.
Yeah.
Like very overwritten and a bit on the nose, and
I
don't know. It seems fun to play. It's a cool idea having a game where you are switching between fantasy stuff and science fiction stuff. It's a cool idea, but I just don't know if I need all of the. I just was looking at it being like, oh god, if it's like a 20-minute cutscene about the importance of storytelling and escaping into other worlds.
Right.
It's like, I'm doing that right now. Like, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand the importance.
You don't need to put such a fine point on it because, like, that's the experience we're having.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like, the gameplay of those games, even A Way Out, which was a little rudimentary, it's always really fun. So.
Yeah, It Takes Two was really fun.
Yeah. Directive 8020. Oh, so this is from the makers of Until Dawn.
Oh, yes.
And The Quarry.
Yep.
Those games which we very much enjoyed playing.
People in the trailer kept talking about a substance.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Fuck, they're riding the coattails.
Well, they must be like, God damn it, it's too late to change this, but we really do look like we're playing second fiddle to the substance.
Can't we just re-record the lines and make them all say like goo? There's some kind of goo.
There's some kind of slop.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to delay the game for a year and to get all the actors back.
Get them in to do some ADR.
But I thought it looked great. Like, I love the setting. And, they always do that sort of schlocky stuff really well. Yeah. The performances are great. I didn't catch if there was any recognizable actors, but I wasn't wearing my glasses.
Okay. All right, Velma. Crawling around on your hands and knees watching the state of play.
I mean, it probably will turn out that the groundskeeper
It's like Brad Pitt's in it.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson, just the most famous people in the world. But that's out October this year, and hey, that looks cool. Maybe we'll dip back in on the gameplay thing.
Dust off the old YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Which is constantly active. People, please go there.
Yes, true.
Five Nights at Freddy's. It's the next one. This is actually not a bad caption from Press Start. Is it okay if I plagiarize them?
Yeah, you're crediting them, so that's not plagiarism.
I'm using the Harvard reference system.
Yeah.
Press Start, whatever, 13th of February. Big day for your favorite 12-year-old. Which I now regret saying out loud.
Yeah, you could say the same thing about Drake being in town.
And that's going on TikTok.
That's the highlight
That's
reel.
the clip.
Yep. Now this was the first. I got to say this next game. This was the first point of the presentation.
Yeah.
That I. By the way, I'm sort of looking not over your shoulder. I'm looking at the iPad that you're using to scroll through, which
That's
you
correct.
could really, if you kind of cropped us above the waist, it would look like I'm just constantly staring at your crotch and then remembering things from the state of play.
Yeah. Now this was the first time I really perked up.
Yes, this game called 1.5 Inches.
That's right, folks. I put a mirror on my crotch. A mirror on my crotch.
Yes. This was the first one where I kind of felt, finally something that sort of looks unique and interesting to my tastes, at least. The Midnight Walk.
Yeah.
can't remember where this did seem familiar. I can't remember when this got announced.
Yeah, we'd seen this. It might have been the Game Awards,
Right.
Around then, because it's fully claymation, which is awesome. They had some of the models. They've probably been fucking using up all of Aardman's stuff.
Yeah.
Because now Aardman can't do anything.
Exactly. Shame on the Midnight Walk.
But yeah, this looks great. It's like first person, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's this little lantern guy that they showed off. I'm
pretty sure they described it as a cozy horror game.
Yeah.
But then in the gameplay footage, you're running around like setting people on fire and shooting shit. It looked like it's cozy. I was like, oh, it's going to be like a kind of a clay animated walking simulator kind of thing. But it looks like a pretty like intense third person.
Yeah,
game.
monsters were like jumping directly at the screen. Like it doesn't look cozy.
Is it cozy just because clay is some shit that children play with?
Maybe that's it. And like the little guy's kind of a little cute lantern fella.
Yeah.
But
freaky looking.
It looks scary, but it looks great.
And these two guys who popped up, and they're there holding a little model of him. I liked that.
Yeah.
Gets his own little cameo. He gets his own little 2-camera piece.
Yeah. I hope we get little minifigures like Cuphead.
Yeah.
That was,
These two guys who looked very uncomfortable being on camera.
Yeah, these two like shy Scandinavian men. But yeah, this looks awesome.
Yeah,
it's out in May. So
Great.
that was the thing that actually got announced.
Yeah, cool.
But awesome. There's actually a bunch of stuff coming up pretty soon for us, which is very handy. And also Darwin's Paradox is coming out.
Yeah, I've blanked on this.
It was some octopus game.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yep.
So Dynasty Warriors, it's called Warriors Abyss, and it's a roguelike Dynasty Warriors game.
Okay.
I think this was the one that said there's 16 million different ways to play it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that I'll be attempting nary a one.
Yeah, I don't know that I need... I mean, I play a lot of games that just kind of have one way to play them.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy them.
Sometimes I find it hard to get a full grip on that one one style as well, yeah.
I mean, something like The Last of Us.
Yep.
It's kind of really only one way to play that.
Yeah,
You have to, like, kill the zombies.
You got to kill the zombies and move forwards through the linear narrative.
Yeah, you've got to get from one point to the next.
Yes.
And that's really good.
Well, you could use your feet on the controller, which would be a second way to play.
Do you think that's what they're talking about?
That could 16 so it includes insects. I
mean,
guess.
if they're literally just talking about like different people's houses that you could play the game.
Oh
in,
yeah.
If they went like global population,
yes,
then by comparison, that actually makes this sound pretty limited.
Yeah,
16 million sounds quite small.
I wonder then if what is it now, like 6 point, 4 billion people have to then like share houses. Like spread out into 16 million houses.
Yeah, it's like
alone.
The Holiday.
Yes.
Just do a little, you get linked up with a random person.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, they're up to the same point as you.
Yeah.
You now have to switch homes and consoles.
Yes.
Here's their address. Mm-hmm. They've left the key out for you. You do the same for them, and then you go to their house and you play the next hour of the game.
Yeah.
And then the same, and then it just keeps...
But then it would be like 1 million of you in that one house, because there's not enough...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There's so many people and there's only 16 million houses.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I think we'll meet a lot of new people and have a lot of new experiences.
We'll get a good ep out of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that makes our 500 episode plans look like fucking...
Look,
kids
pathetic.
Party.
Yeah.
Anyway, not going to play that, but if it has good reviews, maybe we'll check it out.
Yep.
Onimusha the remaster, which is already announced, is going to be out on May 23rd.
Yep.
Looks cool.
Yep.
Looks fun. I am keen for this. But not much else to say. I never played any of the originals.
Yeah, me either. This is where I'm really getting into the territory of everything's kind of starting to look a bit the same in this presentation.
Yeah.
I'm really finding it hard to make any... I've seen a little Clayman and I'm like, all right, I'm into this. And everything else I'm just like, what was that one again?
Yeah. And like we've talked about it before, but like 1 million samurai / traditional Japanese combat era games coming out. And like, look, this is one of the originals, and if it's got a great reputation, then hey, maybe it's worth checking out.
Yeah.
and there's a new one coming out as well. So
Right.
that is such a common move these days, right? Like
Here's the remaster.
remaster the
and then-
nostalgic favorite. Yeah.
And what do you lead with? Do you lead with the remaster, then go, and we're working on a new one? Or do you
Right.
announce the new one and go, guess what? If you don't know what the fuck we're talking about,
Yeah.
you can play that old bitch on your current-ass console right now.
With schmick new textures.
Yeah.
Yeah, Like a Dragon, I think, released all the old ones and then was like, hey, let's try and get some crossover appeal.
Yeah.
And
And then there was that, what was it, Ninja Gaiden the
Yeah.
other week?
Yeah.
Where they did exactly that. They shadow dropped the remaster of the last one. Or
Yeah,
the,
Ninja Gaiden Black and then 4 is the next one, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
No, hey, how could we possibly get confused with all these games coming out? There's nothing similar at all.
we then got a little bit more of a look at Metal Gear Solid
Delta.
Delta.
That's what they're calling the remake of 3.
Right.
Looks sick.
Mm-hmm.
I never played this one. I think I only played 1, 4, and 5.
Right. I've never really gone in on any of them, so I'm looking forward to checking this out.
I think, you really got into Death Stranding by the end there, and it's like, what if that gameplay and design and stuff also involved stealth and killing people?
Yeah.
Which is, good.
I'm interested to see how they pull this off. Obviously, the great man not involved.
Yeah.
But you have to hope that the people working on it are fans of the work.
Yeah.
And want to, do their best to honour
Well,
the rich legacy of the great man.
yeah, and because they did make another one after he left, and it was like okay, but a completely different kind of game from memory. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. And it's out at some point.
And then, they did announce the date. Is it August, I think?
Let's see. The release date is August 28th.
Yes, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Yeah. It's very close to your birthday, right?
I'm so touched that you remember. Yeah, it's 3 days after my birthday.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Well, I remember because we went to Tokyo Disney Sea on your birthday.
Yeah, and you got a tattoo
7 years ago. Yeah, and I got a tattoo
of the date.
Don't forget
of that day's date. And then given the little forward tease that you made earlier, a little offhand comment, a little ribald comment.
Oh yeah. Which I want to do.
I get the impression that you know a bit more about this than I do. What the hell was going on with this Ape Escape shit at the end of this trailer?
Well, no, that's all I know.
Oh.
Because they said they just did that and then were like more to come or something.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
There are. I don't know if it was 1, 2, or 3 or whatever, but there were Metal Gear Solid games that were released that were like side games that were more like little VR simulations where you're just like doing little fun missions and stuff. So I don't know if they're going to incorporate other characters into that. You're hunting down apes and shit like that.
Yeah, okay. Blowing their fucking brains out.
Oh yeah,
Sneaking up behind them and just twisting their neck.
Oh my god. So I don't know what's going on there.
Okay.
But I was intrigued.
I did like it.
Yeah. I get this would have been the second time you perked up.
Yeah. Seen a little chimp composed of 4 polygons.
Yes. Maybe it'll be tied into Astrobot somehow.
Potentially.
Who knows? Hell Is Us. That was the game that was revealed, I think, back in the Game Awards presentation as well. And I was convinced it was a Death Stranding 2 trailer.
Oh, sure.
But it's not. It's something else. And it looks cool.
Yeah.
I don't know much more about it.
No.
What more is there to say?
Hey, that's all we can do.
Yeah. The next thing I've got plenty to say about.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Lies of P.
I bet you do.
Lies of P DLC. Which don't say too quickly.
Yep.
This looks sick. I really loved that game. It is... I mean, it's weird because we're getting Elden Ring DLC or like an Elden Ring standalone game.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's completely different play style to, the traditional FromSoft games. And later this year we're getting more Lies of P, which is,
And I got to say, having not played... I played like the demo of Lies of P.
Right.
Didn't spend much time with it. And then this trailer starting up, and this was, right as I was thinking, like, God, See, everything just looks the fucking same now. This just looks like Lies of P. It comes up at the end. Lies of P.
Yeah,
Overture.
bitch.
All right, well, okay, well, they get a pass.
Yeah,
They get a pass for looking like another thing because
Yes.
it's technically
It is
the
the
thing.
same.
It's
yeah,
the thing.
It's that thing.
That's fair enough.
But it looks cool. Yeah, it was enough of a different set. I kind of thought it was like another Claire Obscure
oh, sure.
trailer, but then yes, that's like Microsoft. But yeah, I thought it looked awesome. I'm keen for this. I'm gonna give it a little play.
I'll bet.
I think I would play Lies of P on Game Pass, which I don't have anymore. So I just have to buy the whole goddamn game again.
Yeah, but you like it. So
yeah.
I bet you'll really enjoy handing over that money.
Yeah, knowing I'm guaranteed a good time. And that's rare these days.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/filthycasualspod.
That's a guaranteed good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we've been having a ball over there.
Yeah.
Talking to Jen Fricker about a bunch of bullshit.
Yep.
Bunch of industry
A
gossip.
bunch of goss.
Oh, yeah. It's a great old time. Then some lame PSV 2 game.
I actually thought this looked cool. This
Okay.
was the next time I perked up.
Yeah, but you don't have a PSVR 2.
No, but it's not. I think it's like you can play it in VR.
Okay.
I don't think it's a strictly VR game.
Should we watch the entire trailer verbatim?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was like a weird, like, you're in a dream.
Yeah.
And it's got this, like, cool style to it where it, like, it really is a good, like, mirroring of the way things kind of look a bit blurry and weird in
Yes.
dreams.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
everything's made out of, like, little squares, like, kind of pixely but 3D.
Like it's all
and
slightly out of focus, like
Yeah.
that depth of field, like points of light thing. I thought it looked fantastic. And
it's, like, very whimsical, but then you're running around with a machine gun.
Yeah.
And the guy who came on to talk about this game had some of the best swag I've ever seen in one of these presentations.
Big
Dressed
time.
like an absolute pimp.
yeah,
And he was talking about...
he looked like a Bond villain almost.
Yeah. He was like, using your weapons not to, like, harm people in the environment, but to, like, change the environment.
Right.
Sort of like, everything's very malleable, and it seems like the technology behind the world is kind of cool. I don't know. It's kind of hard to get a gauge on exactly what this is.
Yeah,
But certainly what was here. Again, it just looked unique.
It did look unique.
Yeah.
I loved how it looked. And I think you're right, actually. It's PS5 and PSVR 2.
I think it probably got some VR2 mode. Like the...
Yes.
What's it called? The puzzle game where you're the little dog... running around having to guide all the souls to the end of the level.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that to...
Humanity? No, that's not Humanity.
Maybe... I think it might be, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you can play that in the VR too, and it's
Yeah,
like a
sure.
bit more hands-on with the controls, but it is still as good of a game
Okay.
without VR.
Well, I take it back. It looks fantastic, and I'm definitely going to play it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Days Gone remastered.
Yeah, which... I remember this was rumored like a year ago or something.
Yeah,
It was a big
yeah.
thing where it was like people were like, oh, they're going to announce it this week. And then it kind of came and went.
Yeah.
Nothing happened with it, and it felt like one of those rumors that has so much traction where you just go, I guess, I don't know, someone was wrong somewhere along
Right.
the way. But no, it's coming.
It's coming out.
For some reason,
Yeah.
not a game that I feel like people were particularly hot on at the time.
No, there's like a core audience who are like clamoring for a sequel, and I think are feeding, because that is the game where the developer, the lead director, is real bitter and was like
Yeah.
angry that they used the character in Astro Bot.
Yep.
And yeah, and there was something else where there was sort of like a tribute to the character, or there was like the game was mentioned.
It's also just
And
like...
yeah, he was like pissed off. He was like, "Oh, so you're gonna like use the creativity in my images, but you're
Yeah.
not gonna like let me make another game?"
I mean, it did feel like there was enough in that original one that was kind of interesting to people that a sequel would, expand on and end up being kind of the more realized version of it.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a shame because it always just struck me as so weird that this is another Sony first party game and it's all about zombies.
Yeah.
And it's like, well...
It's like a gritty zombie, like third-person action game.
Yeah.
It's like set in the wilderness with like a gruff bearded man as the lead.
It's just like you have one of them already that's one of the most beloved and respected series of all time.
Yeah.
Like it was like if it was a Microsoft game or something, you'd go, okay, well, cool. This is their kind of
Right.
take on that.
Yes.
But I don't know. there was something about the like getting to motorbike around
Yes.
and more of an open world that seemed kind of cool, but I don't know. And again, adding all these like horde modes and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I guess I'll give this a try, but
Yeah, I did play it when it came out, and it was different enough from the last. Like, obviously, aesthetically, it was like the same as the last of us. But yeah, the open world nature of it, it's more about like, okay, well, if I motorbike over here and I can scavenge this area, I'm going to have this stuff. Because I think there was a bit of like working together in a base and building stuff up, and like, yeah, a little bit more complex in terms of those systems than being like a streamlined single player narrative thing. I don't know. Hey, maybe.
yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. It's out in April.
Okay.
So hey, if it's a slow week, maybe I'll give it a crank.
And
Speaking of giving it a crank, more DLC for Stellar Blade.
Yep. A new costume.
Yeah.
Which got singled out.
Yeah.
I love not going into detail about what that costume is, but hey, if you're a fan of this game and of that stuff in particular,
Yeah.
that's enough to just absolutely wet your whistle.
Yeah. I think Nikki is the character at the start who is your like mentor. Anyway, you're right. This is a bit of fan service for the fans.
Yep. And it's a crossover with like some other bullshit for perverts, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which, by the way, you loved that game.
Yeah, my favorite. No, it was in my top 10 and I did love it, but
yeah.
you know, it also had big boobs.
Well, you made sure to play it without your glasses on, just so you could like have
yeah.
plausible deniability of
That's
like, hey,
right.
how could I possibly
This could be
playing
Brad
it
Pitt.
just for this reason?
Yeah. Blueprints is a PS Plus game, day one. It's like a puzzle exploration game.
Yep.
Little hand-drawn sort of cartoon-looking ass thing. Mm-hmm. By this point, I was kind of getting bored.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
I'm starting to look at Uber options over to your place at this point. I checked an email.
Yeah,
I got a reply to an email that I'd been waiting on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, got someone on the hook for how to do everything.
Oh, great.
And so I'm starting to think of the logistics of that.
Yeah. You're elsewhere, and that's fair enough.
I was sort of elsewhere, you know?
And let's be honest. I don't remember what Abiotic Factor was. I think
neither.
it was. So it's a survival crafting game, 1 to 6 players. It's going to be on PlayStation Plus as well.
Yep.
If that's your bag, baby, I'm totally happy for you.
I did love again, and this is like, I don't know, it's such a weird format thing where so many companies feel like they have to do these presentations in the same way. Just these like people from the office popping up.
Yes.
Be like, hi, I'm the head of global relations.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, here's some games that are coming out. It's like,
Yeah.
why did you get roped into being on camera in this?
Yeah. Why
Like,
did the VO person just keep going?
give us fucking one guy
Yep.
or girl,
Absolutely.
or they, them, whoever.
Yeah.
Give us one person.
A consistent voice.
Give us one person running the ship.
Yeah.
Get the maker of the game in there to talk about,
Yes.
if it's a big enough game. But we don't just need like, hi, I'm the receptionist.
Yeah.
Here's some stuff you'll be playing in 2027.
Use an AI voice to like,
Yeah.
make a character voice over
Use
it.
AI to make all of the games as well.
Yeah. We love that. Tides of Annihilation was kind of looking interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, initially I thought it was some other more recognizable property.
Yep.
But cool character designs. You're like running around fighting stuff with a sword in medieval or in modern London.
Yep.
But it's got medieval sort of elements.
Right.
That looks cool. I think it was just revealed, not no release date. But I'm sure we'll hear more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Metal Eden was some game.
At this point, I'm fully like, everything is blurring into one another.
Yeah, because I think we're
Until this next one.
Yeah. So that Metal Eden was the second last one. I feel like, was this like a bit of multiplayer first person stuff?
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. This was was this the one that's like the like a team shooter with portals kind of stuff and
I think
crazy
so.
physics? Yeah.
I think so. That could be Abiotic Factor, but at this point, there's no way to tell.
There's one in there that's like really looks like, oh, this is the new fucking Concord. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The new attempt at, hey, let's get a live service thing going. That it's like, it's really hard to, I don't know. Like, I know that they had to it was a huge flop and
Right.
they didn't want to wear the albatross of it and spend the money on the servers, etc., etc. But if you put one of them out, there would have been a couple of people enjoying it.
Yeah.
And you just pull the cord out.
Yeah, well, it was like...
It's kind of hard to then get people invest. Now that you've shown that you'll do that, why would anyone invest in one of these on day one if it's like, I might play this for a week and then have all my progress just be deleted and not be able to access it anymore?
100%. And like, I think this is at least a third-party developer, so there's probably... they made Ruiner, which I didn't play, but... and it kind of felt like the finals or something. Like one of those... If it's free to play, I'm sure it's going to have a lot better of a chance.
Yep.
But didn't really stick with me. Sorry, folks. Unlike the final game that was revealed.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So yeah, it's called Mind's Eye. It's from Housemarque, who made Returnal.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was straight up Returnal 2 for most of the trailer.
Yeah, right.
And then it wasn't, but it was the same developers.
Yeah.
And it has the same premise: die, return stronger, take on the beasts again.
Wait, no, you're thinking of something. You're thinking of the thing after this.
Oh yeah,
because after this was
sorry.
that other game. Mind's Eye House. No, Mind's Eye's different people.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
Housemarque?
No, Mind's Eye. You're right. I skipped over Mind's Eye.
Yeah, I don't know who is making Mind's Eye, but it seems cool. Mostly because, again, it was the first like Japanese medieval fantasy kind of thing. It's like a futuristic AI kind of thing. You're like a guy who's
You're like a soldier.
He's had
Yeah.
a chip implanted in him and it's gone wrong, and it seems a little cyberpunky. And
Yes.
bit of driving around, bit of shooting. It looked interesting. And again, like, who knows, taken in isolation, whether this would necessarily stick out, but the trailer was, it was just a bit different to all the other ones, and it jumped out at me.
It felt legitimately cinematic as opposed to something that was sort of emulating it. Yes, Build a Rocket Boy was the developer. Never heard of them before, but you're right. This looked cool. This is their only game that's listed on Steam, at least.
It looks good, and it was kind of it was a weird one to have right at the end. It's the second last thing.
Yeah.
And it's not... it's not a big developer. It's not like here's the new thing from this team, or it's not a sequel or a marquee thing. Felt strange to keep it so. It felt like, oh, am I missing something here? Is this like a But just a new thing that looks good. I'm interested. This is one of the ones that I'm the most interested in from this presentation. Yeah,
it's It had genuinely good performances as well.
Yeah.
Which I think, talking about Naughty Dog before, and like the sort of like, why would you attempt something that just is going to fall so far short of,
it looks
the high watermark.
Like schlocky and cinematic, but still just being very aware that it's a video game.
Right.
Not trying to overreach.
Yes. But yeah, there was like driving sections, like it. Yeah, I don't know what kind of game it is, but you're right. I was intrigued by this.
Yeah.
Mind's Eye. Okay, I gotta remember that's what that is.
And then, I mean, as I messaged you and said, don't start a trailer. Don't have a game trailer set entirely on the beach.
Yes.
Unless it's a trailer for Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
That's right. That's misleading.
That is taking the fucking mick.
Yeah.
Beach officially now property of Hideo Kojima. It's like how, is it like Cadbury owns that exact color of purple and Coca-Cola with that exact color of red.
Yeah.
Hideo owns things being on the beach.
Yeah. It's like certain businessmen owning entire islands.
Yeah.
They own
You can
beach.
be at the beach.
Yes.
You can show the beach.
Yes.
But as soon as someone is on the beach, then we're getting into real Kojima territory.
We're getting into copyright infringement. So should we just keep talking about the beach aspect of the trailer for a little bit more?
That's kind of all there was to it, honestly.
There was a lot of sand.
Fella waking up on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Big kind of demon thing
Yeah.
in front of him.
Yeah.
And this is so it is a sequel.
No,
okay.
it's from the same developers.
Yep.
It has the same concept. It's like every time the sun dies, everything resets. He comes back to life. The demons come back to life.
Okay.
Well, and they're not demons. It is an alien planet.
Okay.
Same as Returnal from the sounds of things. It's the same formula.
It's a sequel in everything but name.
Yeah. Which surely you call a Returnal 2 to get the brand name recognition.
Yeah, I kind of like it though. I
Yeah.
like maybe it started out as that and they just went, we don't want to be tethered to the same.
Yeah.
We want to do enough different stuff that it's going to be different anyway. It's going to be a complete side thing. So
Yeah.
But you could still do it in the way where your Grand Theft Autos, your Final Fantasies, a lot of those kinds of games have the numbered entries have basically no connection to one another.
Yeah.
But it's still that just kind of overarching kind of thing.
Yeah, which it must be, like a clear aesthetic choice, I guess. It's like maybe they'll do 3 of these games and they'll be released as a trilogy box set, and it's like, this is a trilogy of games, but they're just called different things.
I mean, this very much felt like, I think, a bit indicative of the thing of the state of play as a whole. Like, this is one of the few big, maybe one of the only first party new reveals.
Yeah.
We see basically nothing of it, and it's out in 2026.
Yes.
And that's classic One More Thing.
Yeah.
But this was sort of the only first party reveal in here.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know,
and if that's the most that you far along thing you have to show, and that's not even out until next year.
Yeah.
Then what does that say about the state of Wolverine and any other first party stuff that they're supposedly got going on?
Oh yeah, and once again, everyone on the internet was like, they're going to announce a Bloodborne remake because they delisted a bunch of mods or other content that was sort of floating around the internet. They just were doing it because they wanted to.
Yeah, no
they just
real
wanted to take
no
down
rhyme or
some
reason.
third party or some unofficial shit. I don't think there's ever going to be a Bloodborne remake. I'm calling it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's done.
So you now have to somehow keep yourself alive until the end of time, because otherwise you'll never know whether or not you were proven wrong.
Yeah. If I'm proven wrong after I've died, I will come back as an angry ghost.
Okay, great.
I pledge that.
Taking the copies of the game off the shelf and throwing them around.
Yeah,
sure.
Yes. And if I die and then I'm proven right. So we get to the end of time.
Yep.
And there's no Bloodborne remake. I'll come back as a happy ghost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe
I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Well, anyway, we saw a few glimpses of stuff that's coming out in the future. But you know what? I think it's better to live in the present.
Very rich of you.
Because we've been playing some stuff this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, you've been playing the big new release of the week.
Yeah, I guess it is the big new release of the week. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've been playing that. I'm a few hours in. This is a slightly more accessible version of this game than the first one was very much like, this is a life sim. You do everything. You have to wash your face before you talk to someone because they'll be angry that you're dirty.
Dirty ass face.
Yeah. And I think the combat, I didn't play much of it at all because I found it a bit too simulation-y.
Sure.
Not quite gamey enough, which, call me crazy, but I love a game to be a bit gamey. Although I think you could hunt game, so, I mean, what the fuck?
Thanks for filling time there while I had a way too long drink of water.
It was almost a comedy length. You're like, okay, go on.
Well,
vamp.
you were. I mean, it really did. By the time I got back on mic, you were talking about the nature of simulation. I did feel like, how long was I drinking for?
Yeah.
Did I glitch out and just miss an hour of time?
I
look down at the recorder and it says 7 hours and 8 minutes.
But yeah, so I didn't quite vibe with the first one. There was a bit of controversy around it as well, which I think
there always is.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of an overreaction at the time, but it was a very sensitive time. But yeah, this one is, I think, a bit more like, okay, we're going to hold your hand a little bit at the start here. We're going to give you a bit of impetus as well, not just be like...
Holding hand at the start.
Oh, yeah.
A bit fresh.
Well, hey. That comes first. You know what comes second?
No, you go. What were you going to say?
Anal sex. But yeah, you play as this guy, and I sort of chose very traditional, like, setup choices with the character, because it kind of guides you through this little, like, opening bit where it's like, are you a soldier? Are you like a talking man? Are you are you like a sneaky guy? Like that kind of stuff. Build your character up. Like, are you the prince's bodyguard? Are you his are you a diplomat? Like that kind of stuff. And you get to sort of shape your character throughout the first like half an hour to an hour.
Yep.
But I'm just like a dude. I'm like a fucking soldier dude called Henry. And you're helping out this guy who's like a bit of a nobleman. Oh, and it's set in like actual history. Okay. It's not like a dark fantasy. It's not a Game of Thrones where there's dragons and stuff. It's like literally like it's, the 14th century in the middle of, Europe, like what is now like the Czech Republic or something.
Sure.
And yeah, you're just like guys in tunics with swords and stuff.
Hell yeah.
But it's like, even just the inventory is like, well, if you want to put a helmet on, you have to put on like a padded fucking collar because the helmet would hurt your shoulders.
Yeah.
So it's like very much, it is still very simulation-y. You get to customize and choose all that stuff, but also you have to deal with all that stuff. But yeah, I'm playing as this dude called Henry. I'm kind of a soldier. You're like making your way to deliver this letter because there's a big war on and you want to end hostilities. Some bandits attack. You get thrown into the wilderness and you get hurt, and it essentially like resets a lot of your skills and stuff. So you sort of start off and you're like, oh, I'm this cool guy, and then hey, no, you're not. You've got a sore shoulder and you've forgotten how to swing a sword.
Right.
And throughout all of that process, which I'm still in, I think, the introductory sort of segment, it's like, well, this is how you fight, and this is how you sneak, and this is how you talk to people, and this is, you can like try and convince them with your know-how of sword play. You can try and convince them with just being a good, talker.
Yep.
It's very much what if, Skyrim was realistic.
Okay.
So it has all the trappings. It's first person. You're swinging swords. You're riding horses. You're doing quests. All that stuff. But then it's also like, and some of it's really frustrating. And I don't know how much it's optional or it's like a real part of the game. Like after you're recuperating, this like woman, this old lady's like helping you out. She's like a herbalist, and she's like, why don't you make the potion to help your friend? I made the one for you. Learn how to make a potion, which is like, you got to fucking go down to the river. You got to find the sage and the chamomile. You got to pick them. When you pick something, there's an animation. It's very strange because it's all first person, but then it cuts
like
to
Bugs Bunny?
Yeah, it's a little bit like Bugs Bunny.
Right.
Yeah.
Like an animation.
Yeah, it's animated.
So when you go pen down to pick something up, you just watch an entire Merry Melodies cartoon.
Yes. And when you like stand back up again, you're wearing like a wig and lipstick.
Yeah.
And no one knows who you are, but they're very attracted to you.
Sure, yeah.
You got to go through the forest. Elmer Fudd's hunting you.
Yep.
There's a cowboy. It's a lot of those sort of animation tropes.
There's a racist little mouse.
There's a little racist mouse who's very fast.
Yep. He's very fast.
We love him. He's a beautiful little mouse. He's very fast.
Sylvester should leave him alone.
Why is that cat always after that bird?
No, he'd be pro Sylvester.
He would be.
He'd want Sylvester to fucking break that little mouse's neck. And gobble him up.
Put them all in cages. Put all the little Tweety birds in cages. And build a wall so that mouse can't get over it.
Speedy Gonzales, not in my experience. Lazy Gonzales.
These mice, they're coming over here. They're taking our cheese.
They're going underlay, arriba. No, none of this is in the game.
No, none of it's unfortunately.
And thank God.
That would be an interesting choice for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
That would perk me up.
You said the first one had some controversy.
It has both a bunch of Looney Tunes characters and Donald Trump offering his commentary.
And it's historically accurate.
It's
not like Game of Thrones where there's a bunch of made up bullshit.
No.
It's 14th century and the Looney Tunes are walking around. and Donald Trump's got his commentary on.
Absolutely.
It's very accurate.
Yeah. It's groundbreaking. No, like, instead of just being like, in like a lot of those games, in any game, when you have to fucking pick up a herb from the ground, it's just like press X, boom, you've got it in your inventory.
Yep.
Little icon on the side of the screen says you've got 7 chamomiles. But this, if it was going to show it in real time and be true to sort of the realistic nature of the game, just have the camera zoom into the ground.
Yep.
Your little hand comes out, pluck it, boom. But instead, it cuts to a third-person view, or like a cinematic view of you, like crouching down and being like...
Getting the item.
Putting it in your pocket. It's like, what a waste of time.
You know what I'm so fine with? When you walk over something and you push the button and the thing just fucking disappears and then you have it.
Absolutely.
I don't mind.
That's one of the benefits of it being a game.
Yeah. Even, again, I don't know why... This has come up so much on this episode, but Last of Us, a thing that is striving for realism.
Yes.
It's just, the advantage is it's fucking in your pocket now.
And
Who
then you
gives
can
a fuck?
mix them together with scissors and now you've got a potion.
Yeah. And that took 3 seconds.
Yeah. It adds that in. And that was sort of what turned me off the first game is like, it's too realistic.
Yeah.
Or it's too clunky with its interpretation of realism. And so you've got to walk down. And this is only this isn't even the half of it. So you walk down, you pick these things, you find your way back, and then she's like, okay, go into the potion hut. And then she's like, you got to read this potion book. You can have it open next to you. You can pan over to it. You've got to...
Pan's Labyrinth.
Peter Pan. Pete Davidson.
Jim Davis.
David Letterman. You've got to, have a book where you read the recipe. The recipe is like, this is the jug you've got to use. You got to look over to the wall, pick the right jug, pour the water or liquid from the jug into a cauldron. You've got to boil the cauldron. You've got to lower it close to the flame. You've got to raise it from the flame. You've got to get the herbs from the little sacks on the wall. You've got to know how many little shakes of the sack, as the vicar said to the actress.
No, go on.
Yeah. You've got to know how long to leave it over the fire by turning an hourglass. Then you've got to take it off the fire, mix some more stuff in, pour that into a little vial, and then you've got a potion.
And at this point, you're watching a cinematic of me bend down and pick up a log, and then bend down and pick up a saw.
And
combine them, because this sounds boring.
Yeah. I guess it's in there for the sickos who love the immersive sim sort of realism of it, but it just seems tedious.
Yeah.
And it is tedious to me.
Yep.
And that's my opinion. So you got to do that. But then there's the combat's pretty fun. You have a sort of not quite a crosshair, but you have sort of a thing where when you're pointed, you're holding your sword and you're fighting someone. If you sort of just move the mouse to the left, the little crosshair points to the left, which means you can attack them on the left, and you can see if they're guarding on the left or not. And so if you can get an opening, you can hit them there. You can do a low stab. You can swing overhead. And it also means you can block to the left, right, up or down. And there's parrying, which is cool for a first-person game. If you do a perfect parry, which is just clicking the block button at the right time and then attacking right after that. Then you can do a cool attack that breaks the defenses down. So there are some really good systems in there that would have enhanced games that were a bit more gamey, like a Skyrim.
Yep.
But it has all of these other systems that are you literally get told well, you're going to move this dead body, you're going to get covered in blood. And you do, and then you've got to wash yourself in the wash tub.
Right.
So, okay. It's cool that you can because, there'll be games where you're I think most of the FromSoft games, when you hack a bunch of people up, you get covered in blood and then eventually it just disappears.
Yep.
And this, it's if you get covered in blood, you can wash it off and that's cool. But
you have to wash it off.
The fact that you have to
is,
I don't know. But I will say the more I'm playing it, the more that stuff is sort of moving to the background, and it's more about this fun story where you're playing this guy who's not necessarily the big hero of the realm, just some dude trying to make his way and run around and hit guys in the head with maces.
Yeah, cool.
So I will play more of it.
I think if you settle into that, like the realism and the very like having to do literally everything, I can imagine that being really like satisfying.
Yeah.
I think it's so unique that you've got to really take your time to just know what you're getting into when you sit down for a session. Like a lot of this is going to be busy work.
Yes, and I kind of assume and hope that like if my play style, one of 16 million, is, well, I just want to buy the potions.
Yep.
So I'll be a soldier guy who does a bunch of quests, that gets a bunch of gold, and then I'll just go to the fucking shops. But if you're the kind of person who's like, well, I can mix and match and I can make these little potions, I'll go out and pick the herbs, and then I'll sell those potions, and I'll use that to buy some nice clothes and a nice big sword, and, that I guess it is allowing for that kind of variation in approaching the game, which is, like you say, very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to keep playing it, and I do understand why it has its big fans, because like you say, if you're into it, it really is offering you everything.
Yeah. And you can role play to such an extent of Yeah, that's cool.
Yes. So I'm glad that I had something a bit bigger to sink my teeth into this week, because a lot of indies, a lot of like playing a lot of Billionaire and Cinernerdle and Marvel Snap and a bunch of stuff that is like, pop in for a 10-minute session.
I played something that I've gotten fucking hooked on.
Yeah.
A game that is way more simple than Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Okay. I'll be the judge of that.
It's a game called Time Locker.
Yeah, now this goddamn bitch is locked away on Apple devices, which I would have played it otherwise, but yeah.
The best way I could describe this, don't you have an iPad right there?
God damn it.
I've been trying to see through that thing to your cock for this entire episode. You've got an Apple device right there.
Oh, yeah.
I know for a fact.
And it's not a Samsung tablet, it is okay, I'll get it on
God
that.
fucking damn it.
I forget.
Yeah, that's fair. This is the best way I could describe this. It's Vampire Survivors crossed with Super Hot. So
yeah, interesting.
Time moves when you move.
Yes.
And you start off, you're a little bear. It's kind of got a really, really similar look to Super Hot.
Yeah, I did see some of the screenshots.
Very low polygon.
Yeah.
Single color. So you're a little bear that's represented in like a very rudimentary little way. Mm-hmm. You're moving forward. You're moving, around the screen. You're like automatically shooting, and when you start moving for a bit, and then a little kind of flock of dogs, little enemy guys come across the screen, and when you're moving, bullets are coming out of you, and the enemies are moving, and when you've got your hand off the screen, nothing's happening.
Right.
So as long as you're moving, everything is moving around you, and your weaponry is moving. You then, over the course of picking up little bits of money and getting high scores and stuff, you unlock these little boxes that are sort of in your waiting area before you start a run.
Okay.
Where you can switch out to a different little animal that might have like a more high-powered gun on its back. Mm-hmm. And you can also buy little weapon upgrades before you start your run.
Right.
And you also get drops throughout the run as well. So It is that similar Vampire Survivors thing of like you're upgrading your weapons, and you can have a good run where you've got like 4 homing missiles going and a laser beam and like you're shooting bullets in every direction and you're shooting things behind you, and like every so often you'll get like a little warning that a boss is approaching, and a boss is just basically a giant enemy that comes from the bottom of the screen, so you'll have to like kind of move to get out of its way and then like duck down and swoop in behind it, and it kind of does like it sort of circles you from behind, so you have to sort of move your positioning, and you end up where there's tons of enemies on screen, different types of enemies like moving tanks and different kinds of animals, and then there'll be like these little structures that kind of block your path, so you have to kind of move along, and it's great. It's just it's such a perfect mobile game. It's such a neat idea.
What is the perspective? Because obviously, yeah, Vampire Survivors initially I'm thinking like top down, flat 2D, but this is like
it's top down.
It is top down.
It's the same. It's way closer in than Vampire Survivors.
Right.
Like Vampire Survivors, I think you're meant to have a kind of a view of like a large field around you. This is way more. The challenge is in moving kind of incrementally and things sort of surprising you, and
that makes
you
sense,
having to make a quick. There have been a few points where I'm like, this is so cluttered and tied in. I wish I could bring it back a bit.
Yeah,
but that's the point of it. You're meant to be like right in the thick of it.
Feel
and have
claustrophobic.
Stuff like all of a sudden go like, oh fuck, okay, now there's this wave is like all these like helicopters that I've got to, you can't just be constantly like, moving up. You've got to sometimes like go to the side and drop back a little bit.
And that plays into, it being the super hot style of like, well, we're going to give you this out of like, you can stop and you can assess the screen.
Yeah.
But if we gave you a fucking huge field of view, then it would just be too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This sounds great.
It's really cool. It's
if only I had a way to play it.
It's such a cool idea. Like, I hadn't been on Apple Arcade for a while, and there's just a lot of stuff that I've played in other places.
Yeah.
This was like the one thing that kind of leapt out as like a mobile game, but not like a I don't know, match 3 puzzle or whatever. And I really, really recommend it.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
Great. It's like, it's so wearing its influences on its sleeve, even down to just taking the visual style of Super Hot. But yeah, it really works. I've been logging some real, it's got that thing of, you get like one little continue per run that you pay a little bit for.
Yep.
So you'll be racking up a high score and you'll be like, you know what the best bit is? I haven't even used that fucking continue yet.
Yeah,
and then you get
nice.
hit and you use the continue and then you get hit again immediately. And you're like, oh, okay, well. But
that's
then
what
like
confidence does.
It's confident. It's constantly giving you like, your little targets of like, when you get to this high score, then you'll get. So you've got like, if you get this high score, you'll unlock like a new little animal to play as that's got its own little abilities.
Yep.
And like the other day, I got this little turtle who is sending out a little wave of 3 little replicas of himself.
Oh, yeah.
That like take up a fair portion of the screen. So you're getting these little targets to hit of like, if you get this high score, you'll unlock this. But then you're also... like your score is going into a tally, and it's like once that gets down to 0, you unlock a new little box to buy stuff from at the start before you run. So you get like, you have like, I've been playing it but like even after playing it for not that long, you have like a good little range of options that you can have your own sort of play style to it of like, well, I really like the homing rockets, and I like the little gun that goes out to that kind of sprays out diagonally, and so you sort of find what really works for you.
Right. And so those upgrades of like the different animals and stuff, they're permanently unlocked or just per run?
They're permanently unlocked, and then you like buy them using your in-game cash.
Right. Okay.
So you're picking up little bits of money throughout your run.
Yep.
And then that'll go to a tally. So like. A little animal guy costs you. Sorry, yes. So it's like a little vending machine thing.
Yep.
And you run into it. It costs you 100 to sort of have him drop down, and you get 3 uses of him.
Okay.
So you get 3 runs with him, and then it resets, and you've got to like buy again.
Yep.
And the same with your weapons. So you're like buying them. The weapons only last for like 1 run, and they're like $20.
Yep.
This isn't real money. This is like the in-game money. Yeah, the weapons are like $20 to get one of them, and you can have a maximum of 3. And then the little characters are like $150, and you get 3 uses out of them before they're kind of gone, and you've got to like pay for them again.
Yeah, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good economy as well. Like
I'm playing it in the Apple Arcade version, which what they tend to do is they have everything. There's no like in-game currency to it. It just gives you a lot more like of your like. I think each day when I turn it on, you get like a little drop. That's like, hey, here's 400 coins.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's a thing where if you don't have Apple Arcade, you can pay for a version of it, or maybe there's a free version of it that's got some in-app purchase stuff where you can like buy the currency or whatever. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. I do know that Apple Arcade do tend to like have their versions of things where it's like you don't have to. There's like, I can't remember what it was. There was one I was playing that I accidentally got the free version of without realizing I could get it on Apple Arcade, and it'd be like, hey, you've died too many times. You've got to wait 24 hours to play again. Unless you play. It might be something like that if you just get the free version of it. But it's totally worth chucking in, a few bucks for, because it's great. Yeah,
awesome. I just remembered that there is another game I've been playing that I've been playing a lot of. I was up way too late last night.
Okay.
I think I've played it before because I think it's still in early access. It's a city builder called Foundation. And it's so hard to describe a city builder game like this and make it sound different to the millions of other ones.
Yeah.
Because it really is like, you get a plot of land. It's like medieval sort of setting. You build a town center. Some people come. You build some homes. You build a logging camp. You build a fucking berry picking house.
Yep.
You build an ironmonger. You build a market. It's that.
It's that.
It's literally that, but it's just really, really well done.
Cool.
One thing I appreciate about it is you don't have to build fucking roads.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have to obviously plan out your town properly and make sure, everyone can get to everything and stuff, but the roads just automatically generate. It's just like, well, if you plonk down a shop here and a plot of land for a house there's going to be a fucking dirt path between them, brother. And so that takes out a bit of that tediousness of those kinds of games.
Sure.
And it's just really addictive. I do think it's still in early access, and I think I played it maybe a year ago. It might have been a Steam demo thing that I played. And so I'm playing the latest version, and it's really fucking good. It does crash occasionally, but it does autosave. So I'm not losing too much progress. But yeah, I'm loving it. Cool. If you like City Builders Foundation, definitely worth a poke. Even though it's in early access, just be aware of potential crashes. But
cool.
I've really been sinking some time into it. It's just it's very calm. There's no one's attacking.
Yeah. It's just
you just like, okay,
make it a little city.
I've just got to make sure I've got enough coinage flowing in and shit flowing. And listening to podcasts and audiobooks and stuff. It's a good one for that. So I recommend it. Foundation.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do us for another week. Some good recommendations there. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah.
Get on the Patreon, support the show, get our bonus episode that we do every week, and check out, you will have noticed it in this feed already, Videodrone, our sort of spin-off show every Tuesday. We're talking new release movies, showbiz gossip. We've been recapping Severance, and starting next week, we'll be recapping season 3 of The White Lotus.
Yeah, very, very fun. We did a bit of Oscars chat on this week's past one. Talked Super Bowl as well. It really, it's a bit more broad than this. It's kind of pop culture stuff of the moment.
Yeah.
And then the bonus episodes are still just like other stuff we've been doing, secret private stories that we can't share beyond the paywall, quite genuinely, and anything that overflows.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's always a full hour plus of content on the bonus. But yeah, we're putting out a little bit of extra free stuff on the feed. Yeah.
So recommend that to people who, you think might like our vibe, but perhaps don't like video games.
Yes.
And Jen Freaker joins us every week for that at the moment.
Yes.
Which I don't know if we said yet. But check all that out. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals, welcome to WWE 2K25, The Island.